Inside, the more our perception of the world is changed to a fearful, guarded expectancy. To the fearful person, this world is a terrifying place. To the angry person, this world is a chaos of frustration and vexation. To the guilty person, it is a world of temptation and sin, which they see everywhere. What we are holding inside colors our world. If we let go of guilt, we will see innocence. However, a guilt-ridden person will see only evil. The basic rule is that we focus on what we have repressed. Stress results from the accumulated pressure of our repressed and suppressed feelings. The pressure seeks relief, and so external events only trigger what we have been holding down, both consciously and unconsciously. The energy of our blocked-off feelings reemerges through our autonomic nervous system and causes pathological changes, leading to disease processes. A negative feeling instantly causes a loss of 50% of the body's muscle strength and also narrows our vision, both physically and mentally. Stress is our emotional reaction to a precipitating factor or stimulus. Stress is determined by our belief systems and their associated emotional pressures. It is not the external stimulus, then, that is the cause of stress, but our degree of reactivity. The more surrendered we are, the less prone we are to stress. The damage caused by stress is merely the result of our own emotions. The effectiveness of letting go and reducing the body's response to stress has been demonstrated in scientific studies. Many stress reduction programs offered today often miss the essential point. They try to relieve the after effects of stress rather than remove the cause of the stress itself, or they concentrate on external events. This is like trying to reduce the fever without correcting the infection. For instance, muscle tension is the aftermath of anxiety, fear, anger, and guilt. A course in the techniques of muscle relaxation is going to be of very limited benefit. It would be far more effective, instead, to remove the source of the underlying tension, which is the repressed and suppressed anger, fear, guilt, or other negative feelings. Life events and emotions. The rationalizing mind prefers to keep the true causes of emotion out of awareness and utilizes the mechanism of projection to do this. It blames events or other people for causing a feeling and views itself as the helpless, innocent victim of external causes. They made me angry. He got me upset. It scared me. World events are the cause of my anxiety. Actually, it's the exact opposite. The suppressed and repressed feelings seek an outlet and utilize the events as triggers and excuses to vent themselves. We are like pressure cookers, ready to release steam when the opportunity arises. Our triggers are set and ready to go off. In psychiatry, this mechanism is called displacement. It is because we are angry that events make us angry. If through constant surrendering we have let go of the pent-up store of anger, it is very difficult, and in fact, even impossible for anyone or any situation to make us angry. The same, therefore, goes for all other negative feelings once they have been surrendered. Because of social conditioning in our society, people even suppress and repress their positive feelings. Suppressed love results in the broken heart of the heart attack. Suppressed love reemerges as excessive adoration of pets and various forms of idolatry. True love is free of fear and characterized by non-attachment. Fear of loss energizes undue attachment and possessiveness. For example, the man who is insecure about his girlfriend is very jealous. When the pressure of suppressed and repressed feelings exceeds the individual's tolerance level, the mind will create an event out there upon which to vent and displace itself. Thus, the person with a lot of repressed grief will unconsciously create sad events in life. The fearful person precipitates frightening experiences. The angry person becomes surrounded by infuriating circumstances, and the prideful person is constantly being insulted. As Jesus Christ said, "Why do you see the splinter which is in your brother's eye, and do not feel the beam which is in your own eye?" Matthew 7:3. All the great masters point us within. Everything in the universe emits a vibration. The higher the vibration, the more power it has. Emotions also, because they are energy, emit vibrations. These emotional vibrations impact the body's energy fields and reveal effects that can be seen, felt, and measured. Motion pictures using Kirlian photography, such as those done by Dr. Thelma Moss, show rapid fluctuations of the color and size of the energy field with changes of emotions. Krippner, 1974. The energy field has traditionally been called an aura and can be seen by people who have been born with or learned the ability to see vibrations of that frequency. The aura changes color and size with emotions. Muscle testing also demonstrates the energy changes that accompany emotions, as our body's muscles instantly respond to positive and negative stimuli. Thus, our basic emotional states transmit themselves to the universe. The mind has no dimensions or size and is not limited in space. Therefore, the mind transmits its basic state via vibrational energy over an unlimited distance. This means that we routinely and unwittingly affect others by our emotional state and thoughts. Emotional patterns and their associated thought forms, for instance, can be picked up and received consciously by psychics at a great distance. This can be demonstrated experimentally, and the scientific basis for this has been a subject of great interest in advanced quantum physics. Because emotions emit a vibrational energy field, they affect and determine the people who are in our lives. Life events become influenced by our repressed and suppressed emotions on the psychic level. Thus, anger attracts angry thoughts. The basic rule of the psychic universe is that like attracts like. Similarly, love promotes love, so that the person who has let go of a lot of inner negativity is surrounded by loving thoughts, loving events, loving people, and loving pets. This phenomenon explains many scriptural quotations and common sayings that have puzzled the intellect, such as, "The rich get richer and the poor get poorer," and "Those who have, get." As a general rule, therefore, people who are carrying the consciousness of apathy bring poverty circumstances into their lives, and those with a prosperity consciousness bring abundance into their lives. Because all living things are connected on vibrational energy levels, our basic emotional state is picked up and reacted to by all life forms around us. It is well known that animals can instantly read a person's basic emotional state. There are experiments demonstrating that even the growth of bacteria is affected by human emotions, and that plants register measurable reactions to our emotional state. Baxter, 2003. The mechanism of letting go. Letting go involves being aware of a feeling, letting it come up, staying with it, and letting it run its course, without wanting to make it different or do anything about it. It means simply to let the feeling be there and to focus on letting out the energy behind it. The first step is to allow yourself to have the feeling without resisting it, venting it, fearing it, condemning it, or moralizing about it. It means to drop judgment and to see that it is just a feeling. The technique is to be with the feeling and surrender all efforts to modify it in any way. Let go of wanting to resist the feeling. It is resistance that keeps the feeling going. When you give up resisting or trying to modify the feeling, it will shift to the next feeling and be accompanied by a lighter sensation. A feeling that is not resisted will disappear as the energy behind it dissipates. As you begin the process, you will notice that you have fear and guilt over having feelings. There will be resistance to feelings in general. To let feelings come up, it is easier to let go of the reaction to having the feelings in the first place. A fear of fear itself is a prime example of this. Let go of the fear or guilt that you have about the feeling first, and then get into the feeling itself. When letting go, ignore all thoughts. Focus on the feeling itself, not on the thoughts. Thoughts are endless and self-reinforcing, and they only breed more thoughts. Thoughts are merely rationalizations of the mind to try and explain the presence of the feeling. The real reason for the feeling is the accumulated pressure behind the feeling that is forcing it to come up in the moment. The thoughts or external events are only an excuse made up by the mind. As we become more familiar with letting go, it will be noticed that all negative feelings are associated with our basic fear related to survival, and that all feelings are merely survival programs that the mind believes are necessary. The letting go technique undoes the programs progressively. Through that process, the underlying motive behind the feelings becomes more and more apparent. To be surrendered means to have no strong emotion about a thing. It's okay if it happens, and it's okay if it doesn't. When we are free, there is a letting go of attachments. We can enjoy a thing, but we don't need it for our happiness. There is progressive diminishing of dependence on anything or anyone outside of ourselves. These principles are in accord with the basic teaching of the Buddha to avoid attachment to worldly phenomena, as well as the basic teaching of Jesus Christ to be in the world, but not of it. Sometimes we surrender a feeling, and we notice that it returns or continues. This is because there is more of it yet to be surrendered. We have stuffed these feelings all of our lives, and there can be a lot of energy pushed down that needs to come up and be acknowledged. When surrender occurs, there is an immediate, lighter, happier feeling, almost like a high. By continuously letting go, it is possible to stay in that state of freedom. Feelings come and go, and eventually, you realize that you are not your feelings, but that the real you is merely witnessing them. You stop identifying with them. The you that is observing and is aware of what is happening always stays the same. As you become more and more aware of the changeless witness within, you begin to identify with that level of consciousness. You become progressively, primarily, the witness, rather than the experiencer of phenomena. You get closer and closer to the real self, and begin to see that you had been duped by feelings all along. You thought that you were the victim of your feelings. Now you see that they are not the truth about yourself. They are merely created by the ego, that collector of programs which the mind has mistakenly believed are necessary for survival. The results of letting go are deceptively quick and subtle, but the effects are very powerful. Often we have let go, but think that we haven't. It will be our friends who make us aware of the change. One reason for this phenomenon is that when something is fully surrendered, it disappears from consciousness. Now, because we never think of it, we don't realize that it has gone. This is a common phenomenon among people who are growing in consciousness. We are not aware of all the coal that we have shoveled. We are always looking at the shovelful we are handling right now. We don't realize how much the pile has gone down. Often, our friends and family are the first ones to notice. To keep track of progress, many people keep a chart of their gains. This helps to overcome the resistance that usually takes the form, "This isn't working." It is common for people who have made enormous gains to claim, "It just isn't working." We have to remind ourselves sometimes what we were like before we started this process. Resistance to letting go. Letting go of negative feelings is the undoing of the ego, which will be resistant at every turn. This may result in skepticism about the technique, forgetting to surrender, a sudden upsurge of escapism, or venting feelings by expressing and acting out. The solution is simply to keep on letting go of the feelings you have about the whole process. Let the resistance be there, but don't resist the resistance. You are free. You don't have to let go. Nobody is forcing you. Look at the fear behind the resistance. What are you afraid of regarding this process? Are you willing to let go of that? Keep letting go of every fear as it arises, and the resistance will resolve. Let's not forget that we are letting go of all the programs that have made us a slave and a victim for a long time. These programs have blinded us to the truth of our real identity. The ego is losing ground and will try tricks and bluffs. Once we start letting go, its days are numbered and its power is diminishing. One of its tricks is to go unconscious about the technique itself. For instance, to decide suddenly that the mechanism of surrender isn't working. Things are still the same, it is confusing, and too hard to remember and do. This is a sign of real progress. It means that the ego knows we have a knife with which to cut ourselves free, and it is losing ground. The ego is not our friend. Like Master Control in Tron, 1982, it wants to keep us enslaved by its programs. Letting go is a natural ability. It is not something new or foreign. It is not an esoteric teaching or somebody else's idea or a belief system. We are merely utilizing our own inner nature to get freer and happier. When letting go, it's not helpful to think about the technique. It's better simply just to do it. Eventually, it will be seen that all thoughts are resistance. They are all images that the mind has made to prevent us from experiencing what actually is. When we have been letting go for a while and have begun experiencing what is really going on, we will laugh at our thoughts. Thoughts are fakes, absurd make-beliefs that obscure the truth. Pursuing thoughts can keep us occupied endlessly. We will discover one day that we are right where we started. Thoughts are like goldfish in a bowl. The real self is like the water. The real self is the space between the thoughts, or more exactly, the field of silent awareness underneath all thoughts. We have had the experience of being totally absorbed in what we were doing, when we scarcely noticed the passage of time. The mind was very quiet, and we were simply doing what we were doing without resistance or effort. We felt happy, maybe humming to ourselves. We functioned without stress. We were very relaxed, although busy. We suddenly realized that we never needed all those thoughts after all. Thoughts are like bait to a fish. If we bite at them, we get caught. It's best not to bite at the thoughts. We don't need them. Inside of us, but out of awareness, is the truth that I already know everything I need to know. This happens automatically. Paradoxically, one resistance to surrendering is due to the effectiveness of the technique. What happens is that we keep letting go when life is not going too well, and we are beset by unpleasant emotions. As we finally surrender our way out of it, and all is well, then we stop letting go. This is a mistake because as good as we may feel, there is usually more to it. Take advantage of the higher states and the momentum of letting go. Keep on going because it will get better and better all the time. Letting go gains a certain momentum. It is easy to keep it going once it is started. The higher we feel, the easier it is to let go. That's a good time to reach down and let go of some things, suppressed and repressed garbage, that we wouldn't want to tackle if we were in the dumps. There is always a feeling to be let up and surrendered. When we are feeling good, the emotions are merely subtler. Sometimes you will feel stuck with a particular feeling. Simply surrender to the feeling of being stuck. Just let it be there and don't resist it. If it doesn't disappear, see if you can let go of the feeling in bits and pieces. Another block that may occur is the fear that if we let go of a desire for something, we won't get it. It is often beneficial to look at some commonly held beliefs and let go of them right in the beginning, such as 1. We only deserve things through hard work, struggle, sacrifice, and effort. 2. Suffering is beneficial and good for us. 3. We don't get anything for nothing. 4. Things that are very simple aren't worth much. Letting go of some of these psychological barriers to the technique itself will allow an enjoyment of its effortlessness and ease. Chapter 3. The Anatomy of Emotions. There are numerous complicated psychologies of the human emotions. They often involve considerable symbology and references to mythology, and they are based on hypotheses that are hotly debated. As a result, there are various schools of psychotherapy with their different aims and methods. Simplicity is one of the earmarks of truth, and so we will describe a simple, workable, testable map of the emotions that can be verified by subjective experience, as well as by objective testing. The goal of survival. Whichever psychology is studied reveals that the primary human goal, superseding all others, is survival. Every human desire seeks to ensure one's personal survival and the survival of one's identified groups, such as family, loved ones, and country. Humans fear, most of all, the loss of the capacity to experience. To that end, people are interested in the survival of the body because they believe that they are the body, and therefore they need the body to experience their existence. Because people view themselves as separate and limited, they are stressed by their sense of lack. It is common for humans to look outside of themselves for the satisfaction of their needs. This leads them to experience themselves as vulnerable because they are insufficient unto themselves. The mind is, therefore, a survival mechanism, and its method of survival is primarily the use of emotions. Thoughts are engendered by the emotions, and eventually emotions become shorthand for thoughts. Thousands, and even millions of thoughts can be replaced by a single emotion. Emotions are more basic and primitive than mental processes. Reason is the tool the mind uses to achieve its emotional ends. When used by the intellect, the basic underlying emotion is usually unconscious, or at least out of awareness. When the underlying emotion is forgotten or ignored and not experienced, people are unaware of the reason for their actions, and they develop all kinds of plausible reasons. In fact, they frequently do not know why they are doing what they are doing. There is a simple way to become conscious of the underlying emotional goal behind any activity through use of the question, what for? With each answer, what for, is asked again and again until the basic feeling is uncovered. An example would be the following. A man wants a new Cadillac. His mind gives all the logical reasons, but logic doesn't really explain it. So he asks himself, what do I want the Cadillac for? Well, he says, it is to achieve status, recognition, respect, and solid citizen success status. Again, what do I want status for? Respect and approval from others, he might say, and to ensure that respect. Again, what do I want respect and approval for? To have the feeling of security. Again, what do I want security for? To feel happy. The continual question, what for, reveals that basically there are feelings of insecurity, unhappiness, and lack of fulfillment. Every activity or desire will reveal that the basic goal is to achieve a certain feeling. There are no other goals than to overcome fear and achieve happiness. Emotions are connected with what we believe will ensure our survival, not with what actually will. Emotions themselves are actually the cause of the basic fear that drives everyone to seek security constantly. The scale of emotions. For simplicity and clarity, we will utilize the scale of emotions that corresponds with the levels of consciousness. A thorough presentation of consciousness levels, their scientific basis, and practical applications is found in Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior, Hawkins, 1995-2012. Briefly, everything emits energy, either positive or negative. Intuitively, we know the difference between a positive person, friendly, genuine, considerate, and a negative one, greedy, deceitful, hateful. The energy of Mother Teresa was obviously different from the energy of Adolf Hitler. Most people's energy is somewhere in between the two. Music, places, books, animals, intentions, and all of life emit an energy that can be calibrated as to its essence and its degree of truth. Like goes to like. The different energies constellate in attractor patterns, or levels of consciousness. The map of consciousness, see Appendix A, provides a linear, logarithmic view of this nonlinear, energetic terrain. Each level of consciousness, or attractor pattern, is calibrated on a logarithmic scale of energetic power, ranging from 1 to 1,000. The level of full enlightenment, 1,000, at the top of the map, represents the highest level attainable in the human realm. It is the energy of Jesus Christ, the Buddha, and Krishna. The level of shame, 20, is at the bottom, close to death, representing bare survival. The level of courage, 200, is the critical point that marks the shift from negative to positive energy. It is the energy of integrity, being truthful, empowerment, and having the capacity to cope. The levels of consciousness below courage are destructive, whereas the levels above it are life-supportive. A simple muscle test reveals the difference. Negative stimuli, below 200, instantly weaken the muscle, and positive stimuli, above 200, instantly strengthen the muscle. True power strengthens, force weakens. Above the level of courage, people seek us out because we give energy to them, power, and we have goodwill towards them. Below the level of courage, people avoid us because we take energy from them, force, and we want to use them for our own material or emotional needs. Here, we delineate the basic scale, starting from the higher energies down to the lower. Peace, 600. This is experienced as perfection, bliss, effortlessness, and oneness. It is a state of non-duality, beyond separateness and beyond the intellect, as in the peace that passeth all understanding. It is described as illumination and enlightenment. It is rare in the human realm. Joy, 540. Love that is unconditional and unchanging, despite circumstances and actions of others. The world is illuminated by exquisite beauty, which is seen in all things. The perfection of creation is self-evident. There is closeness to unity and discovery of self, compassion for all, enormous patience, the feeling of at oneness with others, and a concern for their happiness. A sense of self-completion and self-sufficiency prevails. Love, 500. A way of being that is forgiving, nurturing, and supportive. It does not proceed from the mind. Rather, it emanates from the heart. Love focuses on the essence of a situation, not the details. It deals with wholes, not particulars. As perception is replaced with vision, it takes no position and sees the intrinsic value and lovability of all that exists. Reason, 400. This aspect differentiates humans from the animal world. There is the ability to see things in the abstract, to conceptualize, to be objective, and to make rapid and correct decisions. Its enormous utility is problem-solving. Science, philosophy, medicine, and logic are expressions of this level. Acceptance, 350. This energy is easygoing, laid back, harmonious, flexible, inclusive, and free of inner resistance. Life is good. You and I are good. I feel connected. It meets life on life's terms. There is no need to blame others or blame life. Willingness, 310. This energy subserves survival by virtue of a positive attitude that welcomes all expressions of life. It is friendly, helpful, wants to assist, and seeks to be of service. Neutrality, 250. This is a way of life that is comfortable, pragmatic, and relatively free of emotionality. It's okay either way. It is free of rigid positions, non-judgmental, and non-competitive. Courage, 200. This energy says, I can do it. It is determined, excited about life, productive, independent, and self-empowered. Effective action is possible. Pride, 175. My way is the best way, says this level. Its focus is achievement, desire for recognition, specialness, and perfectionism. It feels better than and superior to others. Anger, 150. This energy overcomes the source of fear by force, threats, and attack. It is irritable, explosive, bitter, volatile, and resentful. It likes to get even, as in, I'll show you. Desire, 125. It is always seeking gain, acquisition, pleasure, and getting something outside oneself. It is insatiable, never satisfied, and craving. I have to have it. Give me what I want, and give it to me now. Fear, 100. This energy sees danger, which is everywhere. It is avoidant, defensive, preoccupied with security, possessive of others, jealous, restless, anxious, and vigilant. Grief, 75. There is helplessness, despair, loss, regret, and the feeling, if only I had. Separation, depression, sadness, being a loser, mournful, as in, I can't go on. Apathy, 50. This energy is characterized by hopelessness, playing dead, being a drain to others, being immobilized, and the feelings, I can't, and who cares? Poverty is common. Guilt, 30. In this energy field, one wants to punish and be punished. It leads to self-rejection, masochism, remorse, feeling bad, and self-sabotage. It's all my fault. Accident proneness, suicidal behavior, and projection of self-hatred onto evil others are common. It is the basis of many psychosomatic illnesses. Shame, 20. Characterized by humiliation, as in hanging your head in shame. It is traditionally accompanied by banishment. It is destructive to health and leads to cruelty towards self and others. In general, we can say that the lower end of the scale is associated with lower vibrational frequencies, lower energy, lower power, poorer life circumstances, poorer relationships, less abundance, less love, and poorer physical and emotional health. Because of the low energy, such needy people drain us on all levels. They tend to be avoided and find themselves surrounded by people on the same level, e.g., in jail. As we let go of negative feelings, there is a progressive movement up the scale to courage, and then beyond, with increasing effectiveness, success, and more effortless abundance. We tend to seek out such people. We say they are high. They give off life energy to all living things around them. Animals are attracted to them. They have a green thumb and positively influence the lives of all with whom they come in contact. At the level of courage, the negative feelings have not all disappeared, but now we have sufficient energy to handle them because we've re-owned our power and self-adequacy. The fastest way to move from the bottom to the top is by telling the truth to ourselves and to others. The energy levels are also traditionally associated with the body energy centers that are sometimes referred to as chakras. The chakras are energy centers through which Kundalini energy is said to flow once it is awakened at the level of courage, 200. The energy centers, chakras, can be measured by a variety of clinical techniques and sensitive electronic instruments. On the map of consciousness, the